Guys, I'm now going to review Laroche Posay Hyalu B5 serum. Okay? Now this serum has actually been really effective for me. I started using it just a few days ago. A few days ago, I essentially had a lot of dry skin. My skin was flaking, it was so dry, it was red, it was sensitive, and I was really uncomfortable, and I was embarrassed and I couldn't get any medications. So I actually bought this, and I have to say within the first application, my skin was dewy, more supple, shiny, and that dryness and that so almost like sloughing off of my skin completely stopped. My redness didn't go away, but the dryness did. And I was really amazed because I have bought so many hydrating serums around the world, and this is probably the one that works the fastest, and it really gave my skin that suppleness that I was looking for. So, and I really used like one drop, like 1 or 2 drops, and that was enough for my face and neck. So you have to imagine I was pretty surprised, right? I mean, I have tried every product ever, and this one really did the job. So I looked into it and I looked at the ingredients, and there were a few things that jumped out at me. One thing was that for some reason it uses denatured alcohol, which to me, like when a product has denatured alcohol, that makes me nervous simply because I know that alcohol can be drying to the skin. However, when I saw the list, I know that first was water, then was another ingredient, then was glycerin, and then was denatured alcohol, which means that the denatured alcohol would be in a very low percentage. So I'm not that concerned about it. The next thing I saw was that there was a lot of pentylene glycol and propylene glycol. So those are agents that basically solubilize ingredients, and typically I've seen that glycols tend to cause acne on me, but in this case I've not seen that problem, nor do I feel any obstruction of my pores. So I'm okay. But that being said, those of you that are concerned about glycols, like this is something to be aware that this product does have glycols in it. So be aware of that. However, it has such an enormous amount of polysaccharides in it that really help bind water, that are humectants, that I think that is a really big effect that is happening on the skin, because those polysaccharides like melt. I think it's called, what is it called? I just pulled it up on my phone. I'll tell you, 1 second. It's called madicacicide, which is a really nice moisturizing agent. And then obviously there's a ton of dimethicone, which is a silicone, which you guys should know, but it's really good at moisturizing as well. It has hyaluronic acid and it has hydrolyzed hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid, as you know, is a binding agent. It's a humectant that's naturally present in the skin, so it binds water and makes it more moist. And the fact that it also has hydrolyzed HA is also super important because the actual weight of a hyaluronic acid is super heavy, so the likelihood of it being absorbed is very low. So when you hydrolyze it, you cut it up and you make it small enough to be absorbed inside the skin. So creating like a barrier on the skin with hyaluronic acid, as well as improving the absorption of hyaluronic acid, is definitely a win. So I was pretty happy about that too. I think overall this is a good product. I do not like per se that there are all these glycols in it. I don't like that there's PEG. I don't like that there's denatured alcohol. But at the end of the day, I do have to say that this worked. And I think that's really important to know, right? That this is a product that, with the hyaluronic acid in it, oh, and the vitamin B5 as well, which is a very common ingredient, just for your reference, panthenol is pretty much available in any product. But I have to say it did do the job. It really did do the job. And that's something to be said for someone whose skin got really, really dry sitting in Paris. So for those of you that are okay with using certain ingredients like PEG or glycols or denatured alcohol and you have dry skin, I would say this is a pretty great product. For those of you that are not, there are natural options, but I have to say that it's just not as moisturizing. And if you think that oils are going to moisturize you, they actually don't work as well as you think they do. They do create a barrier, but they don't have humectancy. They don't bind water. And binding water is hugely important. You need strong humectants. And unfortunately, glycerin just doesn't do the job. So to recap it, Hyalu B5 is a great product. It definitely works for dry skin, particularly really sensitive dry skin. But there are ingredients to watch out for. So that's my review on Laroche Posay's Hyalu B5. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more. Subscribe, like us, follow us to learn a hell of a lot more about beauty from me, Dr. Kiran says.